Welcome, my dear friends. Welcome to the Knowledge Capsule. And today is Thursday. I'm very, very happy and thanks a lot for all of you, those who are liking my video, commenting, sharing. Thank you so much. So this gives a lot of motivation. This gives a lot of encouragement for me to turn up every day. So please don't stop liking, commenting, and sharing. I'm really happy to go through your comments, and today let me start the knowledge capsule segment. Let's see what's there for us in this Thursday's segment. Well, I have already informed you that every Thursday we will discuss about 21st century pedagogy, and I am going to talk about 10 globally practiced methodologies, definitely not in one segment. It will take months together, wherein I will go on giving you some information about what is pedagogy, why do we need a pedagogy, what can happen when we have a pedagogy, what can happen when we don't have a pedagogy, how to include the methodology in pedagogy. So this is a very, very, very detailed discussion which we will take up every Thursday in the knowledge capsule. So let me start the knowledge capsule, which is related to 21st century pedagogy and 21st century 10 globally practiced methodologies. And let me remind you the 6 challenges, why we need this. So the discussion starts from the very, very basic level. I told you I would love to start anything from the basics so that the understanding becomes very, very clear. I'm very sure that most of you watching this video, you could be trainers, you could be teachers, educators, school owners, parents, principals. I know that, but let's go back to the start and understand why we need pedagogy and now why we need a set of methodologies. So now let me remind all the 21st century challenges. The challenge number 1 was 21st century kids will have to work and survive in global workforce, mastering the skills of communication, collaboration, and confidence. English will be the major language for communication in global workforce in the 21st century. The 21st century demands the high order thinking skill, which is inventory based. Many jobs students will have to do in 21st century don't exist now. 21st century kids will have to solve problems that haven't emerged yet. And finally, 21st century kids will have to use skills and technology that hasn't been invented yet. So with all these challenges coming up for the future in the child's life, what is our preparation? What is our role? How well are we aware of this? So let's start the discussion from the awareness and know little more about what is 21st century, what can happen if the child is born now. Everything is so same. Didn't we grew up in our times? So I've seen parents asking me all these questions. So let me tell you who is a 21st century kid. Now, who is a 21st century kid? I will have to narrate an instance that I heard in one of the seminars. So it was a famous pediatrician addressing the seminar, and he shared his experience. He said that he and his wife were waiting for the second child to arrive when their elder son was only 2 years old. The elder son was only 2 years old, and they were expecting their second child. And whenever this little child, 2-year-old child, asked, who is this? Because we understand the curiosity of the child, the parents always told that the baby would come with a gift for the elder child. So now this elder child kept on waiting throughout 9 months. And finally a day came when the baby came to this world. It was baby's sister, and everybody around were very happy. The child was also very happy. He was able to see his family members happy with the new arrival of the baby girl. And now, as mother was busy and the child, the mother was still in hospital, the child was not able to interact. When the mother and the baby came home on the 3rd day, Now the elder child came close, and now he started looking at the baby sister. He started staring, and even before the parents could talk about, the first question the child asked for was, "Where is my gift?" Now the parents had told that the baby would come with a gift, and now the parents had to think for an answer. Now, even before the parents could think of an answer, the elder child, the 2-year-old child, maybe she'll book it online now. Okay, maybe she will book it online now. So what's so special about this instance? Now with this instance, are you able to understand the brain development of a 2-year-old child who is able to relate the whole episode? He was able to see the sister came, she didn't have a gift, and she's very small to go out and buy a gift, which the child also expressed in the conversation. I missed to say this. And after seeing the child being very young, cannot go out, buy a gift, and the child could easily get the gift online. Look at the thinking process that happened in the child's brain. And the doctor said, concluding this, the doctor said, and his nursery teacher will have to wait for 1 more year to teach him standing line, sleeping line, slanting line. Did this catch your attention, my dear friends? I repeat, the doctor concluded saying, and the nursery teachers will have to wait for 1 more year to teach this child standing line, sleeping line. Isn't this one instance enough for us to understand the brain development of the child? So today's 21st century kid is almost born with the developed brain, or the developing pace of the brain is very, very fast, and the child is compared to our children, or even comparing 5 years or 10 years, 2 years, whatever you compare, the brain development, at birth is more and significant than the previous years. So please try to understand this instant. Go back, think about this, and you will understand what is the brain capacity, what is the thinking capacity of 21st century kid. And let me remind you, my dear friends, that they will be global citizens. They belong to global workforce, and they will be future global citizens. So now, what is the brain development? So a newborn baby has about 100 billion neurons. These neurons have about 50 trillion connections. So during infancy, the connection increase rapidly up to 3 billion per second. And by age of 3, a child has about 1,000 trillion connections. Now, this is a study, this is a report. And with every passing year, earlier generation gap was considered to be a gap of 10 years. Could be 20 years, somewhere very, very long back. It was considered to be 10 years. Now, I mean to say, if you have an age gap of 10 years, it is said to be a generation gap wherein your thought processes, your level of understanding is very, very different from the person born after 10 years. Earlier, it was considered to be 10 years. Maybe it was reduced from 30, 20 to 10. And later it became 8 years, 5 years, 3 years. Now the generation gap can be seen 2 years. And we don't know, very soon we will see the generation gap every year. So with the birth rate, and especially me being in this early education, we are the first ones to experience this when the child come to us at age. So at the age of 2, we start taking admissions right from the age of 2 for the toddler or for the playgroup level. So every year it is my personal experience wherein I see the shift. I see the generation gap in every year, in every passing years. And with this space, imagine what can happen after 10 years. What could be the development? What could be the brain development that the child will be born with after 5-10 years? We'll have to hope for it. Okay. So now I meant to say that now 21st century child has born with a developed brain. So the neural connections in the brain are already established. So if you see here, the picture clearly shows that maybe, the first picture you can you can just relate with brain development of the child which was born 20-30 years before. So the middle is somewhere 15 years, and the third picture is about the brain development in the child who is born now in the 21st century zone. You will see the neural connections that has already happened, and this is the major change in we experiencing the generation gap. But how do we deal with these kids? We believe that the brain development or the brain neural connections in the brain is very similar to the first one. So maybe, we always go back and say 10 years, 20 years back, what was happening, what was relevant, what practices or whatever methods, whatever techniques we used, many of them are still using the same methodology, same techniques, same teaching. So it is high time for us to understand that the child is born with more neural connection, more synapses in the brain, and we need to enhance it in the early years. Are we ready? Well, let's ask ourselves, are we ready to deal with this situation? Now it is you and me responsible to prepare these young ones to meet the 21st century challenges. And thanks to Horlicks and Bonvita for telling that 90% of the brain development happens before the age of 6. They did their job. So now each one of us understand that it is very crucial for us in these years to enhance these skills, to help brain acquire more synapses. How much are we ready? How well are we prepared? My dear friends, it's time for us to introspect. It's time for us to reflect. So please think about it. And in our next segments, we shall discuss the methodology and the pedagogy. Why? Because we need to prepare these child for an unknown challenge. So we'll discuss one by one, how could we have different methodologies? How could we have a structured pedagogy? So everything about this we shall be discussing every Thursday. Every Thursday we shall be discussing. And thank you so much for watching. And let me tell you what are we discussing next Thursday. Yes, I am going to give you a comparative study of what was 20th century, what was the requirement, why it was required, and what is the shift that has happened to 21st century, what are the requirements, how we need to prepare. So I will give you this comparison in my next segment next Thursday. Hope you enjoyed today's video. If you enjoyed, then please like, share, and comment. Thank you so much for watching my video. I wish each one of you a very, very happy learning. Tata, bye-bye. See you tomorrow.